Hello and welcome. Today we are looking at the TYH TY-T6 Phantasm drone. This drone has 720p Wi-Fi HD streaming. It has altitude hold. It has auto takeoff, auto land, headless mode, one key return, and is a particularly long flyer with a big battery and about a 15-minute flight time. So let's check it out. Now the drone comes in this square box here that shows the quadcopter, and it says Phantasm there at the top, 2.4 gigahertz 6-axis gyro quadcopter, and it's for 14 plus, and it's from the company TYH, and the model number is TY-T6. And right here on the side of the box you can see a listing of its features, such as altitude hold, one key return, LED lights, Wi-Fi, so on and so forth. Here are the QR codes for the app. And here's another view of the quadcopter here, TY-T6 Phantasm. So that's essentially it. So now let's open up the box and see what we've got here. Let's see here. Let's pull it out. So, inside. This is the plastic wrapping inside the box here. And here's the quadcopter. Here underneath, I have a little bag with all the usuals, the instruction manuals, mobile device clip, charger, propellers, screwdriver, so on and so forth, propeller guards as well. And then here's the cover right here. Let's remove this. Remove this plastic here. And right away we have the quadcopter. Pretty cool. And there's the camera. So it's a removable camera or module camera, which is pretty cool. And it's tiltable. So, and here is the transmitter right here. Pretty cool. So let's organize all this and take another look. Now, taking a last look at the contents of the box, we have the drone itself. It's 3.7 volt, 1200 milliamp LiPo battery, an end cap to use in place of the camera, only 2 spare propellers, a USB charger, a screwdriver, instruction manuals for propeller guards, a mobile device clip for the transmitter, and there are no additional screws or anything like that, and only 2 spare propellers. So those are the contents of the box. Now let's take a closer look at the drone. Now, taking a closer look at the drone, this is a very cool looking drone. It somewhat resembles a DJI Spark, only with extended landing legs, as you can see. And right here at the top, it's all white, and it says Phantasm with yellow and black lines. And here at the top is its on and off button. And this is a brushed motor quadcopter. And right here at the front is its 720p wide angle HD camera at, I believe, 2 megapixels, as you can see there. And it is tiltable just about 90 degrees, so it has a good solid tilt that you can manually apply before takeoff, and it doesn't remotely tilt. And right here you could see all its lights for orientation, and so this is a very well lit quadcopter, so very good for night flights or for a sense of orientation. Right here it has pretty long landing legs with kind of like a foamy rubbery end point on each side, so that's pretty good. So it definitely protects the quadcopter for against rough landings. This camera is a modular unit, So when you first pull the quadcopter out of the box, you'll notice there's a plastic end cap that covers the quadcopter, and you can fly it perfectly well like that without the camera. So you can remove this camera, but most likely you'd want to leave it on since it's a pretty good camera. Here is its Wi-Fi antenna, and it does take an SD card, so you would have to push here and kind of loosen the camera and put the SD card, and it is attached with a wire. So let me show you that briefly. Just open this up, and so you would pull this out here like this, and as you can see, it's attached there with a wire, and the SD card slot is right here. You can kind of see it right there. And also, while we're at the bottom of the quadcopter, here is its battery right here at the back, its battery bay. And it is a little tricky to pull out the battery, but you would push in here and pull it out, and then you can replace the battery. So let's take a closer look at the battery here. So here is its battery, and as mentioned earlier, this is a 3.7 volt 1200 milliamp LiPo battery at 25C, and this does take about an hour, a little over an hour to charge, and you do get a solid flight time of close to 15 minutes. So that's very cool. And another cool thing about this setup too is since it has this type of connector here for the battery, you can use other kinds of batteries. And one good type of battery to use are the easy to find Sky Viper batteries, particularly the 3.7 volt 1200 milliamp LiPo batteries, which are the same exact size as the ones included with this drone. So you could find these at your local retailers, and you can even use the same Sky Viper charge cable. You can easily put these in the quadcopter without really any modification. All you do is you just slide it in, and then you just connect it. I'll just show you right here, like so. And so you would just connect it in there, slide it in, and this holds up very well. It is a little loose inside there, but it won't really slide out due to the way that the cable is running across there. So it is stuck in there pretty well. That's really cool. So now you can use those batteries, which are very easy to come across, and you can use the charger of the Sky Viper to charge that. So you have several chargers and several batteries. So that makes this very cool. Now let's take a closer look at the transmitter. Now, taking a closer look at the transmitter, this is a gamepad type transmitter, which has a good grip and is very comfortable to hold. And buttons are pretty well labeled with icons and pictures. So taking a look at the controls, we have the left throttle stick and right rudder stick. Now these sticks do not act as buttons, so you just move them in the direction you want to apply movement, and that's it. We have these buttons here on the side for rates. These are the high rates and the low. So it has 3 rates of speed, so you would push this and hear anywhere from 1 to 3 beeps indicating how fast it's going, and you can decrease it by pushing this button right here. This is your auto takeoff button, your auto land button. This is your 1 key return. This is your yaw trims. So you would trim it to the left or the right with these buttons right here. This is your LED light to let you know that it's on, and here, right here, is the on button. Here are also your directional trims as well. This button in the center will turn on and off the LED lights of the quadcopter. These buttons here are to turn on and off the motor, so you would just push start to start the motors in idle, and then at that point you could push the auto takeoff button to take off. Or if you need to stop the motors, you keep the stop button pressed and it will shut them down, and especially if it's in the air, as an emergency shut off. And then last but not least, we have two buttons at the top. This button right here is basically the camera and picture and video button. So a short press will take a picture and a long press will take a video. And you long press again to shut off the video or stop recording. And then this button here on the right, this is your flips button. You would push this once and then move the rudder in the direction you want to flip, and it'll flip in that direction. Or you can long press this button and it will enter headless mode. So that's pretty cool. Those are the controls right there. This transmitter does take 3 AA batteries, as so, 3 AA batteries. Battery cover. And last but not least, the installation of the mobile device clip is kind of interesting. It turns out that this antenna is for aesthetic purposes. So really what you do is you just remove this antenna like so. As you can see, it has this little square area here where you just remove the antenna. And then the mobile device clip here also has the same square area. So you would just insert that in there like so. And that's it. So, and it does give you plenty of room in there for a large phone. Not enough for a tablet, but definitely for a large phone. So that's essentially it for the transmitter. And now we will take a look at a setup and app, and we will take it for a flight. Setting up the quadcopter for its first flight and also setting up its app is pretty straightforward. Once you have a fully charged battery inserted into the quadcopter along with an SD card, you would first turn it on like so. Keep it pressed until you see the lights blinking. At that point, you would turn on the transmitter like so, and then you would bind to the quadcopter by putting the left throttle stick up and down like so. And you should hear a couple of beeps. You'll see some quick blinks, and then it should go steady. I think those quick blinks are probably the gyro calibrations that it does automatically when you first bind it. But in any case, make sure that the drone is at the ground level, flat and not moving. And you could calibrate the gyros manually. And you do that by pushing both sticks down and to the right for a few seconds. And then you should see a quick blink and a beep. And then you know your gyros have been calibrated. So now you're bound, you're calibrated, you're just about ready to go, to start your motors and auto takeoff. But prior to that, you want to make sure you have your Wi-Fi feed. So you would enter the mobile device's Wi-Fi settings, connect to the drone, and then start the app. So let's take a look at that now. So once in your Wi-Fi settings, you want to look for this entry called Wi-Fi 720p and a serial number. You want to connect to that, and there's no initial default password or anything like that, so you just connect to that. And once that's done, you would launch this app right here called Wi-Fi UFO, and the icon looks like that, Wi-Fi UFO, in either your Android or iOS app stores. And so you would launch that, and once you launch that, there are some help files there, and there's some settings, but primarily what you want to do is click this play button, and right away you should have a live Wi-Fi feed from the quadcopter. And the range of this feed is around 60 to 100 meters, and that also applies for the range of control of the quadcopter as well. So now briefly going over the app a little bit. This button will take you back to the main menu. This one will take pictures. This one will take video. This will take you to your photo album where you have photos and videos stored. This button right here is turning on or off the virtual controls. So you would turn them on, and you can fly this quadcopter without the transmitter if you want to. You would just simply start the quadcopter and not turn on the transmitter and just simply connect with the mobile device and the app. And so once you do that, you can turn on these virtual controls, and once you turn that on, you have some additional options such as altitude hold here, and you notice that the throttle will be centered. Here are your rates. You got 30, 60, and 100. Here are your 360 degree flips, your emergency shutoff, your auto takeoff, your auto land, your trims, your throttle and rudder. This mode right here will use the phone's accelerometer, so you can tilt the phone and the quadcopter will tilt and fly in that direction. And then some further options here on the right. You can flip the video feed if necessary. You can also split the screen if you want to put this in some FPV goggles. Then you have your gyro calibration there and your headless mode. So that's essentially it. Let's take it for a little flight and see how she performs.